Hi everyone, it's Karenna from Your Fertility Hub. If you don't know me, I am an international fertility coach and founder of yourfertilityhub.com. I am a passionate advocate for more emotional support during infertility. I honestly believe it's something we don't talk about enough, that there isn't enough of out there, and that everybody going through infertility should have access to emotional support, some practical tools, and really be guided through this journey, because it is a real up and down crazy journey, and everybody should have support and not feel lonely as so many do. So I run yourfertilityhub.com, and we have a beautiful new app called Your Fertility Toolbox, and that contains a private community, so away from social media, where you can chat with other women going through what you're going through, and a huge toolbox of resources. So all the resources I have built up over the years working as a coach, things like affirmations, workbooks, meditations, all these things for the mind side of things, whole areas on stress and relaxation, how to journey through IVF, a whole toolkit to journey through IVF better. We also have amazing guest experts from all over the world who've come in to give us some resources on the body side of things like yoga classes and meal plans and acupressure classes, all things to support you on your journey. And to further support you, the toolbox also has regular events and direct message coaching from me. So I'm there to walk with all of the members, and we have so many beautiful interactions in there. So tonight's talk about hope is actually something that normally would be exclusively for Toolbox members, but I've decided just to share one of our little talks, our inspirational talks, with everyone tonight. So welcome. So hope is something that is incredibly tricky during infertility. It's something that starts out very much hopeful, but as the time goes by, the months go by, as the knocks get harder and the setbacks come on, it's really hard to stay hopeful, to remain hopeful, and to kind of keep that hope alive. And you almost feel like, should I? Am I allowed to keep that hope alive despite everything showing me that this isn't working? It's not happened for us. Looking around at others when it is happening for them, it really can weigh on you, and it becomes really a common thread of your thinking is, this is never going to happen for us. It's happening for everyone else, and almost becomes like this fight. And this was actually somebody who was saying to me this in the toolbox this week, like, I feel like I can't be hopeful. I feel like I can't allow myself to do that anymore. Or I can't, I saw a post on Instagram, which I shared, which was, I don't let myself visualize being a mum anymore because this is too painful. And I think I totally get that. But I think what I often say to my clients is that when it comes to hope, we need to cultivate it. We need to nurture hope. We really need to tune into that inner hope, because underneath all of the thoughts, of those negative thoughts around this is not going to happen for us, is inner hope. I know it is, because you are still going on your journey. You are still getting up the next day and fighting despite what happened that day before. So there is a hope within you that you will become a parent, and it's tuning back into that hope and cultivating that and living that hope, not living the negative thinking. Because I think that's the trap, that as a protectionism, we feel we have to protect ourselves. And I think I'm not going to think that this cycle is going to work, or I'm just going to say to myself, it's not going to happen for us, that's going to protect you. But unfortunately, it isn't. Unfortunately, when that cycle fails, or when you get a negative result, the fall is still there. The pain, unfortunately, is still there. And being positive going through it gave you a better experience of that. You journeyed through that better because you were more positive, more optimistic. So by protecting yourself, it's actually a false strategy. And time again, I've seen that with clients and heard that. So it's hard, and I totally get that, to remove that shield of protectionism, to actually go and step into that. I am going to be a mum one day. We are going to make this happen. It's a complete flip around of how you've been talking to yourself. But it starts with one simple step of becoming aware of how you're talking to yourself. Because a lot of the thoughts that you're having right now, those negative thoughts and negative thinking around not being hopeful, are doing nothing but bringing you down and damaging you, and they're not healthy for you. It's not healthy to be actively trying to get pregnant, but spending your thinking that you're not going to get pregnant. You're almost friction, you're working against yourself. And that removing that protectionism is scary, but stepping into it and really cultivating that hope is really important. So I guess you're going to ask me, how do I do that? How do I nurture that hope? Well, really, it's a bit of a discussion around optimism, first of all, is saying that it's okay to be optimistic around this. And if you tune into some of my podcasts, I talk a little bit about this on that, because we're scared to be optimistic. But the studies show when we are optimistic, there's actually studies around people going into cycles optimistically. And we do see much better psychosocial markers. So there's the depression, anxiety, stress levels are lower. And that's really important, that your experience of that cycle is better. And also we do see an increase sometimes in the pregnancy rates. Difficult to judge across various studies, but going into this more positively can really help. Part of that is our future thinking. So we spend a lot of time either in the past, going over events, possibly regrets, or we spend our time in the future, imagining a future that you don't want. So you're probably trying to imagine a childless future, or a future like that, where you're trying to do that to protect yourself. Whereas what I want you to do is actually imagine the future you do want. So really go into that. You know, when I tune in with my clients into their intuition, and I think that's a key part of this, is going into your intuition around that sense of knowing. You know, often, you know, we can get somebody saying, I can see myself with a daughter at the beach, or somewhere that you go often. I can see this happening, and I'm like, tune into that. And that is the visual that you hold. When things get really hard, you actually go to that visual. And that can actually really help, because that's visualizing a goal. And we know with performance coaching or sports coaching, it's actually visualizing the goal is really important. So don't be afraid to do that. I know it can be a bit scary, and it can actually be a bit upsetting at first, but push through that slight discomfort. Really get involved in what that image, what those goals, what that vision looks like for you, and then live that vision. Don't live that negative vision. And it's not saying that negative isn't okay, because your infertility journey is like this, and there is negatives, and we are just like batteries. You know, we've got a positive and we've got a negative, and we need both. So I am not saying that it is all positive and it's all la-di-da. It is not by any means. And there's going to be some days where you can't be positive. You can't pull on your positive pants. It's okay to have down days. It's okay to feel negative, and to not judge yourself when you can't be hopeful and positive. But what I'm talking about is that balance, is pushing yourself more towards trying to be positive more than negative. So it's almost sort of going into a cycle. For example, 90% I'm going in, this is positive, this is going to work, but with a 10% of a sort of realism and having a plan in case it doesn't work. This is what I'm going to do on this day, on results day. This is who I'm going to call. This is what I'm going to do in the days after. Some of my clients say, I'm going to have a 48-hour pity party. I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this. And it actually really helps to have that negative plan and then moving on from that and saying, right, then now I've got that plan, I feel settled in that, I can move on and spend my thinking time in that positive space. So recognize and validate any negative feelings. They're completely part of this. But what this is about is surrounding yourself as much as you can with positive. So how do you do that? Well, one tool that I love are affirmations. So affirmations are positive forward-facing statements. And we've got a whole bunch of them that you can download from our beautiful toolbox. You can also sort of create your own and design them and stick them on the wall. But the thing that's really key is actually having them around you all the time. So I have them like on my fridge or on my mirror, on my phone screensaver, places like that you read these statements over and over again. And it's effectively like brain training. So you're training yourself to think in that positive future way. So affirmations can be really, really powerful. Another way of surrounding yourself with positive is surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, relationships can get really tricky within the infertility space. Friends and family don't always know what to say. They don't know how to deal with it. So I often say, try and be as specific as you can with people around what you need. But it's also okay to say no. It's totally okay for you to go, you know, I can't have this person in my life today or this week or just at the moment. Or to say no to an event that you know that is really going to bring your mindset down. It's almost learning to be slightly more assertive about what you need during infertility. And that'll stand you in such great stead for so many other areas of your life. And when you are a parent as well, being really assertive around your needs is important, and saying no is totally okay. The other thing is around where you're spending your time. So often, you know, a lot of researching online or spending time in chat rooms and things like that, really thinking around how is that I surrounding myself with positive, because sometimes there can be some amazing stories out there that can really resonate with you and can really help you. And I know fertility stories are really key. We've got a whole section in the toolbox just around stories and hearing other people's stories, because they really can help build up the hope. But again, it's about being selective. So being really selective about the stories that you read or the groups that you read or the amount of time that you spend in a chat group or a forum or something like that. Because sometimes they can really suck energy, or you can spend a lot of time in them and not really feel like you've got what you needed back from that, and your time may have been better spent elsewhere. So you create your positive environment around you and you maintain it. You maintain those positive walls. And that takes a bit of strength, but it's really worth it, because when you're surrounding yourself with that positivity, it can't help but on a daily basis really, really start to build up. So I think that is a really key step. Another way is to really have a look around at your life, and there's so much lack and loss with infertility that we often forget to look at the things that we do have and the things that are good in our lives. So practicing gratitude is another really key strategy. So it doesn't have to be big. It can just literally be, at the end of the day, writing down 3 things that you were grateful for that day, noting them in your head if you don't have your notebook or your journal. Journaling is also really great at getting out emotions and helping you process thoughts. And that's why I encourage you can, to actually put pen to paper, a bit old school, but put pen to paper and write down your gratitudes and a journal if you can. Because we actually, you know, our brain processes thoughts, and it actually helps us to think with more clarity, to make decisions better when we actually write some of these things down. And it stops that loop going around and round in your head as well. So, but back to gratitude, if you can just think of some really small things, you know, recognizing the beautiful people in your life, a kind act, that was done today, the sunshine on your face as you walked outside. It can just be really small, but what it does, it actually really builds up into this practice of where you're actually actively looking for what's good in life, and that changes your thinking. So instead of going out into the day with your head down, you're actually looking around and saying, yeah, I'm going to write that in my gratitude journal tonight. That was a really good thing that happened to me. Another thing that can help you sort of see that good in your life and in the world is to step out and do something altruistic. So like I said, it could be a kind deed for someone. It could be volunteering. It could be helping or supporting someone. You know, during the COVID crisis, there's so many opportunities where we need to support others, even virtually. So what is it, you know, in your community that you could do to support someone else, to help someone else? It sounds funny, but volunteering or doing something like this is one of the key things I actually ask of my clients. Is I say to them, what could you do that could go out there and help someone else? Because it's just the most beautiful thing that happens. Not only are you giving out, but you are also receiving so much when you do that. And it's something that's completely outside of all the fertility stuff. And it can just bring you so much joy. So I really encourage you to maybe just have a think or prick your ears up and listen out for something that might come into your life or in your community that might help you see that good. And another thing is re-engaging with something creative that you used to do, or re-engaging with some of your hobbies. It can be really important. Part of building you up is doing some of the things that you used to do. So a question I love to ask was, what was the pre-infertility you like? What did the pre-infertility you do before all of this stuff came into your life? And that question will throw up so many visuals in your mind. And maybe just picking one or two of those things that you could do, that you used to do, getting out your sewing machine, you know, dusting down the guitar, whatever it is, just to give yourself something back. And I know it seems removed a little bit from being hopeful about the outcome, but what I'm also trying to do here is to get you to build yourself up to be stronger, you know, to really, I don't know, really, your journey goes like this, and it's always going to have those positives and negatives. But if you're down here journeying through it, the knocks are so much harder, and it's harder to see those positives. But if you can build yourself up to journey through those ups and downs stronger, that really is the aim that I have with all my clients. And that's the aim with everybody that comes through the toolbox, is to just build you up, to give you some practical tools and steps, and to walk with you, to have that connection, to guide you to be stronger. And that's what we need, because you've had so many knocks. You already, by the time you come to this point, have had so much trauma almost getting to it. And infertility is a life trauma. And I don't think, you know, we recognize that enough. We don't recognize that damage that is done. And so it's so important that you think of ways that you can build yourself up to be stronger. So looking at relaxation, stress relief, tools and practical things that you can do. Before, you might never have needed to do these things. You might have been a really cruisy person, but infertility hits and you need to do some actual things. So maybe yoga, or just some deep breathing, or guided meditations. All of these things we've got in the toolbox if you'd like to come and have a look and see those. So, and also making sure that you're feeling really supported and connected. Have you got enough support and resources to journey this? You know, is there a void in your life where you're just not feeling like you're connecting enough, or being able to share enough about the journey? Or, you know, having someone where it's not about the journey, somebody that you can let loose with. Whatever it is, I think it's all just thinking around ways that you can build yourself up to be stronger. And all of that combined, when we're working on our relaxation, when we're working on our mindset, it really does build you up to journey through this better. And it comes back to that initial point around hope. And really, it comes from within. It comes from going back to that original and that core belief that this can happen for you. And I want you to know that this can happen for you, that infertility is not a permanent situation. This is not a situation that you're going to be living forever, that you will journey through this, that it may not happen in the time that you expected. It may not happen in the way that you expected, but you will keep going until you get there. And that get there, often I have clients saying, is that get there? Is that going to be childless? If we look at the statistics of people going through infertility, and I don't often talk about numbers because I think there's too many numbers going around, getting thrown around within infertility, the absolute majority will get there. Episode 37 of our podcast, I got to interview the beautiful Bianca, and it was a 13-year journey she went through. She went through countless rounds of IVF, all of these tests. 13 years later, she got her boys through international surrogacy in Ukraine. Now, that was something that she never expected, but she got there, and it was only the end when she said it was the end. And I just use that as an illustration that you are controlling this journey, and it will end, it will pass. But until then, you need to do all you can to build yourself up, to be stronger, and to foster and cultivate and nurture that hope so you can live a better reality during every day, because you can. And I've seen this time and time again, how when we work on these things, the positivity, it just exudes out into all areas of your life, and things get better. The experience of infertility gets better. And as the studies show, and as I've seen as a mind and body expert, we also are often able to shorten that journey when we really can work on our full mindset. We need a healthy mind and a healthy body to really combine to put yourself in the best possible place to get pregnant. So I hope that talk resonated with you. It may be just one or two little bits that really got to you and that were right for you. But if you take away anything tonight, I want you to take away that hope, that it's okay to be hopeful. And I want you to start living in that hope every day. Thank you. And I can't wait to see you guys in the toolbox, chatting away soon.